Kimchi is so good for you. It is full of great bacteria. It's a fermented product, meaning that it lasts in your fridge for a long time. Keep watching this video to learn how to make it yourself. You can get all your ingredients at the Asian grocery store, most Western supermarkets, and the red pepper and salted shrimp from Amazon. The first step is to take your napa cabbage, wash the outside, and then cut it right in half and then into quarters. Then slice that into 2 to 3 inch chunks. Run that under cold water and then begin the brining process. All you need is salt. Work the salt into the napa cabbage. Don't be afraid to aggressively squeeze or even bruise the napa cabbage through this stage, because you want the salt to get into those crevices to help pull the moisture out. You're going to want to do this a couple times throughout the 60 minutes that this brining process will last. While you wait on the cabbage, it's time to make a slurry that will make the seasoning more easily stick to the cabbage leaves. Boil about 2 cups of hot water and take a cooked or raw potato and shave that right into the boiling water. Stir well and you have a goopy consistency. Add 2 tablespoons of brown sugar or any sugar source. You can use pear juice, granulated sugar, honey, and then take it right off the heat to cool. Next, it's time to julienne your vegetables. This is key if you want that crunch in your kimchi. I like to put in green onions, carrots, daikon, chives, and cut them into thin matchsticks. It doesn't have to be perfect. My knife work sucks. You can even use a mandolin if it's easier for you. If you use leeks, make sure that you wash them under running water very, very well, because dirt oftentimes hides inside those layers. Next, peel a hunk of ginger and at least 6 cloves of garlic. You can do more or less of any of these ingredients. It's really all up to your taste buds. If you like a lot of garlic, you can use 25 of them. I included an Asian pear because I like my kimchi on the sweeter side. Dice about a cup of an onion and be ready to put all of that into a food processor. Add a half cup of fish sauce, a 1/4 tablespoon of salted shrimp paste, and about 1.5 cups of Korean red pepper. Now, the Korean red pepper is the only ingredient that you really cannot substitute with. Don't use the crushed red pepper in your pantry that you put on top of your spaghetti. That's a completely different varietal. It's going to not give you the right kimchi taste if you use that. I got mine off of Amazon and it was pretty inexpensive. It'll last me a long time. It goes into the freezer after I'm done making kimchi. And there is your seasoning. At this point, your cabbage should be nice and brined, and you might notice liquid that wasn't there before pooling at the bottom. That means that the brining process is working. It's pulling the moisture from the cabbage. You want to rinse all of the salt off of the cabbage and get your gloves on, because it's time to do the fun part, the mixing. Mix the napa cabbage with the seasoning well, and do it in small portions if your bowl isn't big enough. Keep tasting and adding seasoning and adjusting the flavors as you go so that it's exactly what you want it to be. I like having fresh kimchi, so I put it in the fridge as soon as I'm done to really slow down the fermentation process. If you like your kimchi a little bit more sour, this is something you can do. You can put your kimchi in a smaller container, something like this. It has a lid to really seal it, but you don't want to seal it too tight because gases will start to emit. You don't want your vessel to explode. After making a big fresh batch, I'll move some from the larger container into a smaller container. And then I will leave this container out at room temperature for a day or 2. And then I'll taste it. It will start to bubble because that's the active bacteria eating the sugar, turning it into a fermented product. Super probiotic, really good for you. This one will get more sour than this container because this is going into the fridge. It takes a lot longer, it's colder, slows down that process. Whereas this one, I'll leave it right on the counter and check back in a few hours. It's important that you press the kimchi down because you want as much of the vegetables to be covered by the brine and covered by the liquid. You really want to push it down to get it submerged in the brine as much as possible. Otherwise, it runs the risk of getting a little bit moldy. It's time for a taste test. Has just the right amount of sweetness for my taste. When you're making your own, you can tailor it to your exact tastes. If you like garlic, throw some extra cloves of garlic. If you like it sweeter, throw in a whole Asian pear, like I did. Saltier or more seafoody, add more of the salted shrimp or fish sauce. So good.